Welcome to Feisty Chess. I've got white against Caro Slayer. Whew, it's a good thing I don't play the Caro Kann. Oh, but he does. Shall we slay it? I've got to try this again. That's the fantasy variation. Okay, this is the line I played a couple games ago. Knight c3, and now if e5 I take, and knight a5, knight a4 is the key move after bishop c5. I just know it's a good move. Now, whatever he plays, I'll have to figure out the solution. If he goes with queen check, I play c3 and my knight's guarded. If he goes with bishop check, I go king e2 and ask him how he's going to save his queen. The line should go like this. Bishop check, king e2. Anyway, we'll look at that later. It's a forced queen trade, actually. So I've either got b4 here or c3. c3 looks good. I'm threatening b4 at that point and protecting my knight. I also can just take that knight and enjoy the bishop, take that bishop and then enjoy my extra pawn and the bishop pair. And if the queen captures, I'll probably follow up with like queen d4, proposing a queen trade. It's not surprising that a strong player would play the queen b6 line. I hear it's one of the best lines you can play against the fantasy. So, yeah, the idea of the fantasy variation is just obviously being able to recapture with the big pawn center. And white is arguing that this move f3 is more valuable than black's move c6. We're both stopping our knights from coming to where they really naturally want to come. So each of us is going to hesitate to make this exchange in the center, which would allow our opponent to recapture with that pawn, right, and then ultimately play the knight there. Okay, he went for the knight. So I get the bishop pair this way, and I'm guessing the best move here is just recapturing. I've also got b4, but then he can defend. Well, he can't. I can keep b4 in reserve. Hold on. I take and then b5, and my knight has nowhere to go. Okay, this is interesting. I take here, b5. Oh, my knight can then come to c5. Okay. If b4 now, then his queen would have to come back. Well, he can come back to c7, and then he's hitting my e5 pawn. And then I have to recapture the bishop. So I'd rather just take. If b5, I've got knight c5. Actually, b5, knight c5, b4 looks kind of dangerous. Okay. What about queen d4 now? I wouldn't mind if he took on f3, because I could open my rook up. If I go b4 now, he'll take with the queen. I could take with my pawn, but my knight's gone. That doesn't look very good. Yeah, queen d5, queen d4 looks good. Still holding on to this knight. If he wants to take on f3, he not only gives me the center, but I'm hitting g7 with initiative. Bishop f4 and then castling long looks like an okay plan. And if he does nothing, I'll just, if he lets me, I'll just take this with my queen, staying up a pawn and really having a grip on the center. Maybe I want to get b4 in first. Okay, now looks like a good time for b4. No, no, no. He'll take the knight. He'll just take the knight. Bishop g5 looks good. He wants to maybe come knight f5. In which case, maybe I should just grab this pawn right away. Ah, but then he's got bishop f5. I do have pawn takes as well. That shuts down the knight. Bishop c4 is no good because of b5. Unless I've got some crazy tactics. I do have knight c5 right away. Does that threaten anything? Not really. It kind of makes my knight a little looser, actually. If I go, yeah. Okay, there's f4. Also bishop g5 first. Complex position. f4, then bishop f5. Let's just grab this pawn. And I can go queen b5. Well, b4. No, not really. Okay, let's grab with the pawn. I had to make a decision there. This keeps a piece out of f5. He can play knight g6 here and win back e5. Well, actually, I can go knight c5. Still hang on. Okay, I like my position. As long as I keep good on the clock. This is playing the opening much better than a couple games ago. I had a Caro Kann, but I wasn't playing Caro Slayer, so I got off a little easy, but I didn't play the opening very well. I didn't find that knight a4. I do have the two bishops here, so the more pawns get traded, in general, that's good for me. Okay, now bishop f4 looks good. Knight c5 also looks pretty good. This knight's not too happy on the rim here. The queen is kind of tenuous with him. And that also allowed me to play a bishop to c4. And also, if he goes knight g6, I've got knight d3, clinging onto that pawn. Although, okay, now I'm convincing myself. Oh, he's maybe got idea of rook. Yeah, I'm gonna rook d8. I want to meet rook d8 with queen b4. So I'm gonna play bishop f4, get another piece out, get ready to maybe castle. Although castling over here looks tenuous. My knight hanging around on a5, a4. Okay, he goes for that. Now I just back up. This knight doesn't really have much of a future there, unless he can win b5 e5 somehow. I might lose that pawn, that's fine. Just an extra pawn. More pawns drop off the board, the better my bishops become. Where's my light square bishop want to go? Maybe d3? Maybe e2? Seems to have more scope on e2. Maybe ideas of h4, h5. Yeah, and the point of the bishop coming here to guard here is if rook here, then I've got queen over here. Okay, this makes sense. But now I can get in. No, I can't. I can't get that move in. Knight c5 looks pretty good. Now let's get this knight back in the game, and let's get in with a little hurry here. Interesting. Very interesting. Lots of choices here. I can take on b7. And I can land that knight on d6, actually. That looks really powerful. Let's do that. The queen has to continue to protect this knight, too, because I got bishop takes. In the meantime, I'm watching that square, so rooks can't come to it. Okay. I'll take the queens off. And knight on d6 looks pretty great. Maybe I'll keep the knight there for now. He's not going to take control of d6. I think I got lots of good options. Well, let's just do this. Free that rook. Bishop b3 might be good. But I got knight d6, and I'm playing bishop c4. Okay. I'll take this chance to castle. I see. He wants to win d6. That makes sense. e5. Okay, I'm up a pawn, so I can afford to lose one. This is a bit of a sneaky move. If he takes with this knight, I'll just go bishop e2. If he takes with this knight, I've got the removal of the guard. I like this knight on b7, just keeping the rook off d8. If he plays h5 to stop my playing h5, I got bishop e2, and maybe we'll have to trade bishops. I don't know if I want to trade bishops. Gotta get that other rook in the game somehow. Connect my rooks. Okay, I think... Oh, he's trying to stop h5 like that. Yeah, I'll just go here, and I'm still threatening h5 because the bishop has to defend the knight. You play rook a7, and then I gotta go knight d6. I can also get... Okay, he takes that way. Okay. Might be time to just try to simplify here. Now I'm threatening to play h5 again. He wants to trap my b7 knight. I might need to worry about that, actually. Gotta keep an eye on that guy. Okay. But he can't bring in a rook here to guard d6, so I can always come to d6. And then maybe ultimately to f5. Yeah, let's get this rook here. That doesn't threaten anything. I think d6 is better. I want to come to f5. That's a pretty strong knight. And I'm okay with that rook trade. I might have had something better there. Let's trade all the rooks. I am just fine with that. The more we simplify down, I just take my pawn advantage and run. He either trades the rooks and lets me get my king to d2, or he gives me the d-file. Okay. Okay, I expected that. Let's just play king back here so there's not a check at some point here. Play that up, and then we're preparing b3 so he doesn't take on a3. He's got that pawn to watch over, so he has to move this knight before he moves his king. That's the power of my knight on f5. Can't let g7 hang. We'll attack this knight, and if he takes, then I pin his knight, and I'll just win the king and pawn ending. So this knight, actually, now it can come here, and it'll win. That's, shoot. I'll win that pawn, won't it? But I got threats. I got threats against that knight on e7 still. So I'm going to let... he can defend. He can defend. I'm planning on running my pawn. I think I'm much faster than him here. I can catch his pawn with my bishop, but he can't with a knight. Okay, we gave up our extra pawn, but we've got the time advantage, and these knights are too clumsy to catch my a pawn. And this king is kept out for the time too, for the time being. So looks like I'm going to promote. Oh, where did he go? Right here. Ah, he wants to get a knight to c6. Well, I'll let that happen. I should be winning more pawns on the king side. Not going to let myself get forked. Wait a minute. Okay, I have a trick here. Whew, this is tough. Tough resistance getting put up here. Can I take this and make it back in time? I can. I'm going to do that. That gives me better winning chances. Back to g3. I'm up a piece. Just up a piece here. I don't see any counterplay for him. Let's just guard things. Get my king in the game. Get my pawns rolling. And there's no reason for us to want to take that, of course. Careful. Okay, now I should be able to win. This is fine with me. Just being careful here. That knight is dangerous. I think I can get e5 in. If he tries to take c7, I push e6. Whew. Certainly thrown a lot of tricks my way. I've had to be very aware of knight forks. Let's just push that. We'll find a way to win. Let's get the king up to a6. If he tries to defend with the king, we just queen and then take the knight. Okay, queen and take the knight. Whew, all right. Now we just queen and win. You want to be the take? I don't know. There's no stalemates in the position. All right. We cracked open that cockroach, that Caro Kann. All right, this is great because just a couple games ago, I played against this variation, against the fantasy. Played the fantasy, f3, and then black played queen b6. I knew knight c3 was right. And here I pretty much knew, I guessed well enough that I needed to take. Then after bishop c5, I knew that was the move, and I thought I've either got this or this. And knight a4 frankly looked too scary to me. And I went with this. Let's see the analysis board. After which, after knight h3, trying to guard f2, but of course he just chops off. And I thought, okay, I've got the bishop pair, I've got the extra pawn, and I can survive this. And white is fine here, but it's better and simpler to play knight a4. And the computer line, let's see if Stockfish still gives this. The computer line is bishop f2, putting the king in the bomb cloud position. And then the queen has to go to d4 just to protect the bishop. And then you take off the queens, and then bishop f4, you just hold on to your stuff. And if b5, you just attack, well, you just go back to c3. And white's up a pawn. He's a little awkward in the center, but look, he's got the center. And yeah, I don't know what form black's compensation takes here. Anyway, looks very nice for white. So after queen a5, let's see how I did. c3, bishop takes g1. Yeah, rook takes, okay. D takes e4. He knew the moves. Now bishop f4, apparently. My move any good? Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. It still holds the advantage. Looks like it's been played 4 times in games that have gotten to this position. Huh. Fallujah played this against Wei Yi in 2020. Top level games. Nepomniachtchi played this against Ivan Popov. All right. Let's see, the bishop f4 idea. And I guess, black gets his pawn back by taking, but now this rook has lots of activity. Oh, and look, black is just losing. Really, what if he just tries to guard like this? e6? What's the point of e6? What about bishop e6 then? Queen d4? Okay, f6, right? Queen e3. Huh. King f7. And knight c5. Bishop d5. Knight takes b7. That idea, just like in our game. Okay, that went a long ways afield there. But bishop f4 is the computer preferred move. But actually, this move is just as good, it looks like. Now e takes f3, recommended by the computer. No, knight e7, just like the computer. Knight c5. I went for pawn takes. Knight c5 is better. I didn't want to worry about knight f5 here. But I guess just go queen c4. There's no pressure on your e-pawn. But what if b6? b4. Queen is trapped. Let me just go for the queen trade. Knight takes e4, and then we're going to win on c4 as well. So just devastating here. 2 more pawns. Okay, knight c5. This kind of gives away my advantage. Castles. Once knight c5 again, I went for bishop f4, knight g6, and now I've got an extra defender on that pawn. Because if he plays knight g6 before I can play bishop f4, this was my concern. I can't get bishop f4 in. You get b4 in, and then the queen, well, queen c7, right? Oh, and this is how you hold the pawn. Queen d6, you're checkmating the queen. Oh, and this is glorious. Look at these pawns. Oh my goodness. Rook e8. The knight's got it held down. Just a4. I'd want to get a piece out, right? Get another defender on that maybe, or unpin it. Oh, that's not good enough. Anyway, I'd be happy with white there as well. Black has real problems with his queen side. Okay, so he went for bishop. I went for this line. Bishop e6. Now knight c5 comes with an attack on the bishop. And this doesn't look like any good. I've got a lot of different moves here. Huh. b4. Now what about queen a3? Queen d2. And we're just going to win that bishop. So yeah, I was pretty sure I had tactics against bishop takes a2. Knight a6 has to be a big mistake. Knight b7. And now he's got to go there to hang on to the knight. A queen goes anywhere else, and there's no hanging on to the knight. So I got it right with queen takes. h4. I didn't play that move, but I had that idea. That would have been better to play here, yeah. h4 is powerful because a lot of times if you have a knight on g6, you want to play h5 to stop that. But then you've got bishop e2. And I guess this trade is forced. And then you get h5 in anyway. Okay. Oops. It says rook f to b8. Knight to d6. Knight f8. And that g4 pawn looks really weak in that line for black. So I played a3, just trying to play it safe. I didn't want to worry about any bishop and knight taking on a, like rook takes a2. Knight to b8. What a move to have to play, but my opponent found it. Knight d7. Okay, castling is good here. What about... I would have gone for this if I were black. I would clamp down on the light squares with this bishop. But I guess you just play bishop d2, e2, and then you're going to play bishop d1. Challenge that bishop anyway. Yeah, okay. Now I went for this. Try to get tricky. Bishop e2? Oh, bishop e2 is playable here. Because I take with the rook on the 7th. I should have... I looked at that move, but I didn't look any further than bishop takes e2. And then later I noticed the bishop has to guard the knight, but I didn't put that together and realize I could get bishop e2 in. A lot of times you want to exploit these tactics to win material. That's the mode I get stuck in. But you can also exploit the tactics to get a positional advantage. But actually he's got knight takes here. And now, okay, now you get your rooks more into the game. That looks similar to how the game went, actually. This is a nice little way to exploit a even-Steven kind of tactic, which allows me to get a rook on the 6th. 7th, I should say. Which is always nice. This... Wow, it's very complicated. So maybe I'm glad I didn't take that. I was low on time. I kept it simple. He got one pawn back. Okay, he wanted to stop that, but he got the bishops off the board first. Yeah, just pretty much keep my advantage here, right? Yeah, that knight on f5 is great. It likes rook d4 better? Strange. I don't understand rook d4. Happy to get the rooks off. Once the rooks are off, it's much harder for the weaker side to draw. Okay, so with minor pieces and an extra pawn, it's a much easier win for me than with rooks. In fact, if he trades the minors off, keeps the rooks on, it's going to be very hard for me to win this. And against somebody like this, I probably won't win the rook ending. Especially being low on time. Okay, so from here, yeah, I could have gone to c2. I just didn't want to deal with any checks. In an ending, you don't have to rush. And here I kind of rushed, and yeah, bishop f2. And I gotta admit, I got a little lucky here. I wasn't planning on allowing him this kingside counterplay, but then my pawn ended up being stronger than his. I saw ghosts here. I didn't take immediately because I didn't want him to check me, but there's no checks. I saw a knight fork on c3, but his knight can't get to c3, obviously. Okay, so having those checks and that, yeah, cleaning up that extra pawn and eliminating extra counterplay from that second pass pawn was really handy for me, as long as you know you can get back on time. And I can give up knight when I need to. I just make a lot of progress here. He can't take that first pawn. And yeah, let that knight get captured in the corner. And my king was going to get to a6, so... All right, thank you for the game to my opponent, Caro Slayer, and the opportunity to rectify that opening mistake I made in a couple games ago. This is a really fun experience, and this goes to show you how you play some games, you can remember better lines and actually put them into practice. Really gratifying. I don't know the last time I beat a player this high rated. So thanks for watching, and stay feisty.